Welcome back to News Insights. A friend of today can be enemy of tomorrow. And if I can do it more safely by myself, why will I pay another person to do it? Nigerian military, they are looking in worse. You know, our CDS, General Christopher
Musa,
you know, they went about the other day, and the confiscation of arms from, you know, all these miscreants, you know, terrorizing our people was massive. And most of the gadgets were locally fabricated, locally made functional arms. And he was bold to say, which I know a lot of people have been saying this, that rather than pursuing and doing all this, if we have this knowledge internally, why don't we integrate it into our own military and produce our arms ourselves? And the countries that will buy these arms from, what if they turn against us tomorrow? Nobody will sell to you what you use to successfully fight him. Do you think our CDS is moving in the right direction?
Yeah. I was so happy when I read or heard about that initiative. We've had DIC, Defense Industry Corporation,
In Kaduna?
In Kaduna,
yes.
Kakuri precisely, in Kaduna South. I've been there, close to my place of birth. You need to see the equipment they have there.
Wow.
The same year it was created was the same year India did that, DS2.
Yeah.
India today do not buy, they sell to us, even helicopter, fighters, jets. And it goes beyond that. Because of the equipment and technology in there, they produce even parts for vehicles and other things.
So was it functional even at the time? Let's lean on your personal
as
knowledge.
we speak now, while I was
Has
young,
it ever been functional at all?
very well. They produce all our bullets. They produce some guns. But the problem is this. A lot of our previous military leaders prefer to buy from outside. You can hear when they said not too long that an estate was discovered in the US, bought by Datsuki, with money meant for arms. If you are producing locally, it will help one, employment.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
It will help one, employment too. A lot of these welders, let me come to that language that everybody understands. There are a lot of welders that are fabricating local AK-47, AK-49, and some of them in Plateau State, because they've been in crisis for a long time, some of them are even as good. I think the police said something last year and 2 years ago when they caught some suppliers and mentioned that they cannot even differentiate between the locally made one by personal individual to that produced in Russia. So what does that mean? Instead of catching these people, yes, what they are doing is wrong. And encourage our DIC, which is very large. You need to see the land they occupy, the equipment they have there. Now, let's keep issue of school aside. Not because most of these welders that produce these guns in Plateau and some other every part of the country, in my village, in your village, let's not the blacksmith, they didn't go to school. They produce
this knowledge.
They produce this thing, and I'm happy the military is not condemning. They've talked about the quality of those arms. So now, what the military is saying now is, if we are producing locally, you know what that means? All those welders may no longer be producing for criminals.
Yes.
Because they will be employed in DIC, and then they will be placed on salary and will produce locally. Now, we are no longer going to be depending on importation.
So we're looking at it. Kingsley, you appear to leave this thing.
I wish you can.
Because he has a good knowledge of it.
Yes, he has a very good knowledge of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Okay, fine.
No, hold on. But Kingsley, I wanted you to come in. You think he would deal with issues of, because of his knowledge on the production. Don't you also think there's something he raised? Corruption. Taking our money outside to buy. When coming back, less amount of goods will follow it and come back. The other money would have gone out. You know, that's a way of them moving this money out. Don't you think we can actually save a lot of dollars when we develop our local arm manufacturing industry?
I think one of the things they were afraid of initially was this proliferation of arms.
Yes.
So that it will not be everywhere.
Yes.
But as it is now, it's everywhere. Okay, the Fulani headsmen, they have AK-47. The arm robbers have AK-47. Like the DIC that is talking about, it's very close. It's between Kakure and Trekania in Kaduna. they had all the equipment to produce. Now, incorporating our local knowledge. For example, we used to have schools they call technical colleges, where it's between primary, secondary, so that we will have a lot of people having practical knowledge of how to produce this thing. But corruption has infiltrated into our system.
But we have to save our nation.
So much. But not everybody has this patriotic spirit. If I may ask you, why are people buying houses abroad?
Where they don't live.
Where you don't live. You're using to secure your investment for your children that maybe they may turn druggists tomorrow. I'm not praying for you to be that way, but why are you doing that? Tell me one of them that don't have a house abroad. One, either in the UK or in Dubai or in the US.
No, let's put it like I just mentioned something earlier, that nobody will say to you what you will use to defeat him. Should there be any war, for example, or...
That take me back to number of times you hear Nigerian army have paid, or Nigerian armed forces have paid for a helicopter that will come in 2-3 years time.
Yes.
If DIC is equivalent, you need to go there. It's just here in Kaduna, sharing the same geographical map with Pidot Nigeria. You know, with good brain. I think this present CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, may God give him long life. The man, he has tried so much in terms of securing our country.
Yes.
This morning, my friend asked me, why is it like going to Kaduna about the road? I said security. He said, yes, you know, and I'm not no longer afraid of security. Under this present CDS and under this Buhari's, Tinubu's administration, even though I'm not an APC person, I give it to them. I can drive to Kaduna today without any
good
fear.
Nigeria, everybody benefits when Nigeria is
I can
good.
drive to Kaduna. I'm no longer afraid if I see my parents call from Kaduna that maybe somebody have kidnapped them or not. God bless them. They are doing excellently well. Now, coming to what the CDS have just said, the Nigerian army have just said about local production. And it helps us, one, it reduces dependency on foreign countries, all right? So it will not give us that room to be able to produce exactly what we need at cheaper rate. And now it creates employment, it saves money for the country, and it makes available equipment, arms needed to fight crime at the right time.
Okay, now, Mitri, PK, you were saying something, that not everyone is patriotic, but Nigerians. You see, the essence of this platform is to galvanize Nigerians to be part of governance. If CDS has been bold to say this, so it's no longer a sacred area.
But you also know what the CDS said is that we are contemplating.
Yes, it didn't
say emphatically we are going to start producing light ammunition.
No, things start from contemplation.
Well, it's a welcome idea that they are thinking about it.
Yes.
They shouldn't have been thinking about it. It's one of the duties what they should have been doing.
What if Nigerians, knowing the benefits that are going to come from this, employment, conservation of forests, even prevention of corruption, even securing ourselves in a long term, should there be any aggression between us and any other country who might be supplying our supplies? So don't you think the citizens...
Don't also forget that the citizens are not part of governance.
No, hold on.
No, that's it. Hold on. Let me tell you why I said that.
We can't continue this way.
Of course, we cannot continue until the citizens know that they can also regulate.
That's right.
And question.
That's right.
Governance. They will not know. Now they should know. For example, we are questioning that why will Prados be bought for House of Assembly member when we have an assembly plant?
The same knowledge behind us saying we have local car manufacturing companies. Yeah. Why are you not patronizing them?
Do you understand? So have we, for example, have we won that war? Are we sure in the next 4 years they're not going to be doing the same?
Let me tell you, we'll continue
to talk about it
until we
win. Now in talking to the people and telling them things we should do, people should come out and lend their voice and say this thing is enough. Now this arm that they are producing or they are being brought from abroad, what is there in the technology? Belarus, for example, that's one of the things they do. They produce arm. They didn't invent the technology. It's technology that have been invented at the legion. China, for example, if you know, China doesn't invent.
Do you know the budget of defense? if you check the Nigerian defense budget, imagine if the substantial part of equipment meant for it is being diverted back into our local economy. What do you think will happen to our local economy in terms of employment?
But I have said it here this morning that one, employment, we kept complaining, talking about unemployment of the youth. If DIC should peak, at the peak they should peak, based on what the CDS have just said, you know what will happen? Not just employment, our economy will shoot high. You know why? The Ajaokuta Steel Complex produces nothing, steel. What is one of the major materials used for production of arms? Steel.
So eventually, it's going to stimulate other.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. You know, I told you two things that helps economic growth. Number one is production of steel. Number two is electricity.
Power, yeah.
Power. Now, the two of them is what we lack. And one of the reasons that we have an obsolete technology in iron, in steel production, is because they don't want us to develop. The technology we have at Ajaokuta, where did it come from? It came from Russia.
Russia, yeah.
Now, if it's coming from Russia, they gave us an obsolete one, even while we're building their one, their own has already passed that technology. So now, if we don't get the steel and don't get the power, because those are the things that are issues with that DIC. Because you need to also look at why did they stop production?
Their input factors.
Do you understand? We must look at this
Their
incorporating
raw materials.
source of raw materials. Castina rolling mill, is it working?
Now,
Alaja, is it working?
We have a research and development agency in Nigeria, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Very well.
Are they doing enough to activate? You see, the work of developing a nation is not just from one point.
Yes.
It's holistic, connected matrix.
Yes.
It's a holistic effort.
Yes.
And that is why we would like the president to be someone that is interested in local production. It starts from input factors, like I said.
Yes.
If the DIC are lacking from their raw materials, what would they do?
The case of DIC, like you see, I'm talking because I have first-hand information, you know, about DIC. Unlike our Ajaokuta Steel Complex that we say so many machines are outdated, so many machines are not functional, that was what happened in NNPC too. DIC, as we speak, had always been active. They've been producing, they've been working. It's just that encouragement to produce more. It's just that encouragement to produce what we need internally that had always been the problem.
No. I think, you know, they also need raw materials.
No, hold on. I'm not saying they don't need raw material. I know they won't produce with air. All right? What I'm saying is they've been producing even while we feel that where they're supposed to source their raw material locally have not been functional. Yeah. All right? The problem that was on ground before now is that the people at the top of the affair were more interested in importing so that they get their commission.
So PK, how do we kill this interest?
Now, you talked about Raw Material Development Council of Nigeria.
Yes.
The office is just in my town.
Yes.
What's the function? What do they do?
Yes.
Do we source the raw? We have all this material locally that can be developed into the raw materials that we need to develop these industries, you know, because you see, it's a holistic idea we're talking about.
Yes.
We're just talking about DIC, but you see, it's supposed to spiral every other industry, including car manufacturing and all that. These agencies need to be rejigged and see why they exist. Do you understand? Until that is done, and we always trace our things back to the root. Corruption. Until that corruption is nipped in the bud.
So eventually, we're going to take it from there. So corruption has held us back. CDS is trying to push us forward towards local production.
Exactly.
Mind you, the toughest and the most sensitive local production is arm. If we can think in that direction in arm, then we shouldn't be bothered about car manufacturing, even modular oil refineries and all that. All
these are iron.
All of them will take shape.
So, and before you go, let me tell you one thing. Just 10 seconds. Do you know that there is an allegation that the reason the war on bandit and other stuff is not finished is because there may be other foreign powers backing them so that they can sell arms.
I was going to go there.
So eventually, for us to protect ourselves locally, we have to do it locally.
Yes.
And until that is done, we might not be able to move forward. But for us to get that done, we must kill corruption. So still at this insight, we have to kill corruption before corruption kills us. Still working towards our next milestone, the Nigeria that works for everybody. We'll be right back at News Insights.